There has been a nudge below the prior day's low in the pre-markets, which I usually take as a sign of continuation around about 80% of the time. So if Monday dazzled you, Tuesday definitely made everyone dizzy, so let's see what Wednesday brings. Are we going to break in, or are we going to break out of the short-term range that we've identified? We're also going to look at crude oil. That has popped 10 out of the last 12 times of the pattern that I'm going to show you. Again, S&P is flirting with that range again. Is it going to break out? Is it going to meander back in? Again, time as always will tell. And then we're going to look at yesterday's premium poppers that pretty much locked in the profits just before the closing bell. Was it worth it? But nonetheless, a profit is a profit. So the futures on the indexes are starting to suggest a little bit of expansion in movement again. That typical average day's move is starting to expand. It's expanding in the pre-market, and we're not necessarily seeing the regular session start to put in some range of movements at the moment. So it's still a little bit frustrating this week so far. Nonetheless, we are getting that expansion out of the consolidation, so we're just at that range low. We'll look at that in a bit more detail at the moment. Nasdaq is still inside that range, as is the Russell, and again leading the bear charge for the moment is Uncle. Over on crude oil has printed a small narrow ranging bar. What I've just done is just highlighted all the inside days, or narrow ranging days, and what we can see afterwards is price typically pops a little bit higher or a little bit lower. And one of the things that you can take away from this is the move into the range. So for example, over on the left, we can see that we have this narrow ranging bar here circled, and the move into that consolidation, or the narrow range, if you look at that on the intradays, that's what you'd see, typically dictates the post breakout move. And if you just count up the bull and the bear moves, actually 83% of the time, Pareto Principle once again at it is dictating the post move breakout. So if we look at the most recent narrow range that we can see, quite literally the move prior was bullish. Then we get just look at the prior day or two. So the prior day is bullish, and that leads into this consolidation. So can we anticipate a bullish breakout move? So the one thing that we do know is there's going to be a breakout move. There usually is. It's usually a fun, fast one, and we can anticipate it being bullish. If you want to trade this non-direction, a good way of trading non-direction with options is to use a long strangle. We've mentioned this a few times in the past. 30 delta long strangles, and the sides that the market moves or breaks means that the option that's say it's a bullish break, the call side is going to make money at a faster rate than the put side loses, and it's just one of those little magic numbers that we can use with delta. So 30 delta or a little bit beyond, and the side that loses will lose money at a slower rate than the side that makes money. Just a fun little way of trading, or you can just wait for the breakout and trade it directionally, add a pullback entry to your favorite indication for a breakout. So today in the pre-market, there has been a little bit of a nudge below the previous day's low. Now, obviously, we look at the cash markets, but we can see that the system is set to bearish. We are back inside this range, so we've gone from the range highs here that we've marked off the last couple of weeks, and most of that move happened in the gap overnight. So unless you were actually in that trade, it's unlikely that you would have been able to participate in that. Nonetheless, we're grinding sideways at the low, so it's just really a question of will we continue lower, or will we move back into the range, again range lows to the range highs, and just keep pinging and ponging back and forth. So we can see a clear break below 7700. Just look at the daily's top left, there's pretty much clear space for us to move all the way down to 74, 7500 zone quite quickly, quite easily. So that's what we're keeping an eye out for. Obviously, I'm biased to the bear side. We're in the crash correction window season. So that's what I'm anticipating, and that's what I'm looking for. I can't deny the bull move, so if we do go higher from the range 7700 low, we could get up to 7770 the range. We could fill that gap ultimately before we pop a little bit lower. I'm going to skip over Russell. Russell is essentially doing the same thing. It's a carbon copy, so just insert RUTs and replace it from SPX instead. Looking at Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's given me a brief headache. We saw price, again, just grinding higher again. Everything's grinding at the moment. Seems to be my favorite word, a descriptor. But we can see prices pushing lower, and I've just added this overlay on the charts here, this consolidation within the larger consolidation. So it's a wee bit frustrating to start to see patterns within patterns. But nonetheless, that's what it's doing. Price is finding support. It hasn't really challenged the entry of that purple line there. But looking for that target upwards and over the spot 3135 sort of level. It's just off the top of the chart there. We commented on it. Basically, from the range lows to the range highs is what I'm looking for. And again, we've got this little fly in the ointment, smaller range. We may just like pulsate around here. We'll see if we can get a breakout to the upside for that target's level. So yesterday's premium poppers, again, the profit locked in for me. Again, I just traded S&P. I was out and about. I had another nice meal out and went to the theatre. Again, keep in mind I'm 5 hours ahead, so US lunchtime is my evening time, or late afternoon, early evening. So I popped out, popped my trades on. We got the first and third breakouts just there, and once again, we can use it again. Check it off on your bingo cards. Grind it sideways all day, and it was just that last 10 minutes that my own trades were transformed or partially transformed into a profit locking situation on one of those trades. Most people also traded in the community the Russell, which is awesome. Again, very clear, very clean breakout. First and third breakouts again, and again just a nice trending move on Russell by comparison. For myself, again, I locked in a small profit, and it turned out to be an okay day. Didn't quite get the full risk-free situation prior to the closing bell, but it was still a profitable day, so I can't complain. Great deal. And as always, the community at large, more importantly, despite the shitty moves or lack of a movement on S&P, the community has once again scooped a bucket load of premium. So again, well done, Don, Keith, Richard, and Keith again on both the Russell and the SPX. So again, well done. Nice to see you back, Keith. Again, you've had a little bit of a breakaway, but great to see you back on the wall of wins. So, fun fact, I've mentioned it a few times since I brought up the Pareto Principle. Pareto never actually called it the Pareto Principle. He never named it after himself. This was actually coined in 1941 by Joseph Uran, who read Pareto's work and named it after him. What Pareto actually noticed in 1896 was that 80% of Italy's land was owned by 20% of the population, and that 20% of pea plants in his garden produced 80% of the pods. So the most quoted rule, not just in trading but around the world, that 80-20 rule, is named after a man counting peas by someone else 45 years later. Once again, this is proving that I am not smarter than the data. There's lots of data to support or for or against any argument. I want to follow what the data says for me to do. First, second, third breakouts. I'm doing some more research on VWAP so we can automate new signals and new setups. I'm looking for quality controls and quality signals, and that means that I can disengage the brain, and less brain for me equals more gains. I'm not smarter than the system. And if you'd like to learn more about collecting morning income or collecting weekly income that we talk about in these updates, then just head over to antivestor.com or click the link in the description. And with that said, I'll leave you with a little funny ha-ha for the day. And as always, may your trading be smoother than a cashmere codpiece.